So today we're going to go ahead into part 2 of this book, Pranic Living Unveiled, The New Way of Nourishment. And thank you so much for joining. All is well. All is well. So part 2, we'll start on the chapter titled The Food Pornography Pandemic. The Food Pornography Pandemic. Food is everywhere. We see it on billboards, in restaurants, and even on our screens. It is hard to escape the constant images telling us to consume, always enticing us with textures, flavors, and colors. Some call it food porn, a temptation for those with food addiction. The hardest thing, it seems, about food addiction is not knowing that food can be an addiction. Not knowing that you've been functioning on various drugs for the majority of your life, even since childhood. The majority of us addicted to food don't ever see it as a drug. We see it as a necessity. We see it as something we couldn't possibly live without. So we continue to make excuses for why we need to eat more. It is easy to get caught up in this world of food addiction, where we casually fantasize about the next thing we will have on our plate. But we must remember to feed our focus and starve our distractions. Because at the end of the day, distractions will win over our focus if we let them. We must be the difference when it comes to our destiny. We must be the deciding factor for our own discipline. That's why it is important to be mindful of the content we consume on a daily basis, especially on our phones, where everything is just a tap or a click away. I remember being with a group of friends in Las Vegas on a weekend trip. During this time, I wasn't eating any solid food. They quickly accepted the fact that I was living on liquids, even though they didn't quite understand. I was able to notice so much programming there. In Las Vegas, there were signs and advertisements marketing food and overconsumption. Subliminal messaging that would say things like, "It's okay to indulge. It's okay. Just treat yourself. Don't feel bad. You deserve it." The consciousness was heavily catering to the hypnosis of overeating. It showed me that food pornography was like a pandemic that had really become widespread, basically letting people know that there was no shame in having as much food as you like. Treating yourself is one thing, but without temperance, where do we end up? A good way to find out if you're addicted to something is to see how long you can last without it. Just do a test. See how long you can live without your phone. See how long you can be settled without social media. See how long you can be fulfilled without food. See what happens when you make a conscious effort to do the opposite of the majority, to focus on nourishing your mind with things that grow you and not slow you down. We hear a lot about self-care, but taking care is also taking charge. Taking charge of your freedom, taking charge of your life. There may be many things that we cannot control in life, but we can control what we put in our bodies. Taking charge of our lives means stepping out of the cycle of consumption that society has normalized. It means recognizing the subtle ways we are manipulated into believing that food is the solution to every discomfort, every emotion, and every celebration. But the truth is, food cannot fill the voids in our lives. It can only distract us from them temporarily. When we allow ourselves to be governed by our cravings, we give away our power. We become slaves to our desires, constantly seeking satisfaction in something that will never truly satisfy us. The more we consume, the more disconnected we become from our true selves, our true needs. But there is another way, a way that involves tuning into the wisdom of our bodies, listening to what we truly need, to what our bodies truly need, and breaking free from the chains of food addiction. This path requires discipline and mindfulness, but it is also liberating. It allows us to reclaim our autonomy, to make choices that align with our highest selves. Imagine the clarity and freedom that comes from not being bound by the constant urge to eat. Imagine a life where food is no longer a source of stress or guilt, and being nourished is a simple, natural part of living. This is the promise of pranic living, a life where nourishment comes not from food, but from the energy that surrounds us, sustains us, and connects us to the universe. So the next time you are tempted by the endless stream of food imagery, pause, breathe, and gather yourself. Take a moment to reflect on what you are truly hungry for. Is it food? Or is it something deeper? Is it comfort, connection, or a sense of purpose? By asking these questions, you begin now to break the cycle of addiction and move towards a more conscious, fulfilling way of being. In the end, taking charge of our lives is about making conscious choices every day. It is about choosing what to consume, not just with our mouths, but with our minds and our hearts. It is about deciding to live in alignment with our true selves, free from the distractions that would pull us off course. And as we do so, we find that we are not just feeding our bodies, but nourishing our souls. Feel the fear and do it anyway. We all experience fear at some point or another. It can often be very paralyzing. Perhaps you have had certain fears as well. Fears that turned out to be false evidence appearing real in your mind. But here's the thing. Fear is like a puddle that is a mile wide and only an inch deep. Once we step into our fear, we realize it wasn't as scary as we thought it was. In particular, fear can prevent us from changing our eating habits. We may fall into the cycle of overeating because it is very normalized in our society. Or we are just used to having that daily routine. But it doesn't have to always be this way. If you have a good support system around you, whether it's friends, family, or a community, it can be easier to make a transition and let go of your fears. This is what happened to me when I went to my first Pranic retreat. It was in Sherman Oaks, California, with one of my mentors, Elitam Elamine. Athena Starseed was also a guide there, and in fact, it was her house that we stayed in. There were 8 or 9 of us there together, all huddled up in one room with our sleeping bags. Had it not been for the energy and overall synergy of this group, I may not have shed my fears around fasting. Still to this day, it was the longest period I have ever gone without food and water. The longest I have thrived on prana alone. We were all gently pushing each other to go further, propelling ourselves to reach our fullest potentials. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I encourage anyone to give it a try. If you've never done an initiation or attended a Breatharian retreat, it can change your whole world. One of the best books I've ever read was by Susan B. Jeffers. It is called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. This book taught me that it is okay to feel fear. Actually, it is perfectly normal. It is our mind that wants to protect us. But what if your fear isn't running from a lion, but simply learning a new skill? What if your fear isn't jumping from a building, but simply starting a new journey? What if you have a fear of failure, or even a fear of losing your former self? When you allow yourself to feel the fear, but you still take steps forward, you are demonstrating courage. Because in actuality, there is no courage without fear. Without that feeling, there'd be no such thing as bravery. We don't admire people who are never afraid. We admire the ones who did it while they were scared, who made it happen anyway. The people who gave it their all regardless of fears. So when it comes to fasting, and when it comes to pranic living, what are the fears that come up for you? Learn to address those fears. Learn how to acknowledge them. See them and let them be heard. Give them your listening ear and then move forward despite all of your fears. Give pranic living a go, because once you do, those fears will slowly start to dissipate. Eventually, the doubts will be gone, but you will remain. The uncertainty will be gone, but you will remain. True growth never happens in the comfort zone. It happens when we step out into our discovery zone. When we go out on a limb and trust, despite the trembling hands and despite the racing heart. It is in these moments of vulnerability that we truly come alive, that we truly begin to understand our potential. Imagine the freedom that comes when you confront your fears head on. The fear of changing your diet, the fear of letting go of societal norms, the fear of stepping into a new way of being. These are the gateways to a richer and more fulfilling life. When you face these fears, you begin to now find that they are not as solid as they seemed. They are like shadows that dissolve when we bring them into the light of our awareness. Like little cockroaches that scatter in the brightness of your conviction. And as you take these steps, you are not alone. There is a community, a collective of souls who have walked this path before you. Beings who understand the challenges and triumphs that come with pranic living. They are here to support you, to lift you when you stumble, and to celebrate your victories. So let your fears be the catalyst for transformation. Let them be what drives you to explore the unknown, to step into the limitless power that lies within you. And remember, every time you face a fear, you are reclaiming a part of yourself that has been hidden away. You are stepping into the fullness of who you are meant to be. Fear is something to be embraced. It is a teacher, a guide, leading you towards your highest self. It is not about living without fear, but about living with courage. Because beyond the fear lies a life of unimaginable beauty, a life that is waiting for you to claim it. So take that first step, feel the fear, and do it anyway. This chapter ends with a quote by Monica Schuett. Monica Schuett was the first one that I seen when it came to Shivambu. Her interview was the first one that I seen. Monica says, "This is the highest truth that I have found in my own journey, my own adventure of life, of self-discovery. This is the biggest discovery that I have made. Yes. It is not about what I was putting into my body, but what I stopped putting into my body. Because the body, I realize, is perfect. My life, my being is perfect. It doesn't need anything." Monica Schuett. The new ways of nourishment. Many people have discovered ways to receive nourishment beyond solid food. Nourishment is about more than just what you put in your body. It is also about what you put your body in. What do we mean by this? Well, the environment you place yourself in and the things you absorb in your surroundings. It all has an effect on your energy. For instance, something as simple as forest bathing can be incredibly nourishing for your body. Pranic living helps to reframe our understanding of nourishment and explore different ways to be replenished. During my pranic retreats, we would often be taking walks in nature. You can be very revitalized around vegetation. It can be super grounding to tune into more natural surroundings, to get away from all the technology and sync up with the sunshine. So start to learn how you can incorporate more nourishing activities. Things like listening to music, dancing, painting, creating, even a conscious conversation can be energizing. It is often surprising how we can feel ourselves rising when we enliven our spirit. When our cells are saturated with life, our whole body can hear it. And I just want to take a quick pause right there just to talk about how conscious conversation can be energizing. I just came just now from the Texas Fruit Festival over there in Austin, Texas, and there was a ton of people there. It was a lot of folks from all walks of life. They came from all over the country. They flew in, they drove in, they did road trips. They came however they could to show up in Austin, Texas. And I attended the Texas Fruit Festival there. And I interviewed a good few folks. I think about 6 or 7 people I interviewed there. And during each conversation, even though I wasn't drinking, I wasn't eating, during those times, I felt nourished. And I felt replenished after each conversation. And they were asking me, my guest, they were asking me like, wow, like all this fruit, you're not tempted? Like there's all these bananas, all these pineapples, all these peaches and pears and plums and like all of this fruit. You're not tempted? Like not even to take a bite, just a little bite? You're not tempted? And I told them, I was like, I was never fruitarian. There's never been a point in my life where I had a transition where I was solely fruitarian. I never had a phase or a fruitarian way where I was just sitting down, just eating bananas all day, or eating oranges all day or apples all day. That never happened to me, ever. So when I jumped into, a liquid lifestyle, I was jumping clean into it, like from way over there, I was way over there. So I just jumped over a lot because I was desperate for a change and I was inspired to not remain the same. I was inspired to go somewhere higher. And I was inspired to continually rewire my mind at the time. And since I never had a point in my life where I was just sitting down eating grapes or sitting down eating fruit, there was no pull. I love fruit juice. I told him I love fruit juice. I drink pineapple juice. I love it. But just sitting down eating pineapples, it wasn't like appealing to me, right? So that was revealing to me when they were pointing out to me like, wow, Jerome, you're not tempted, all this fruit? And I was like, yo, this conversation we just had, this was food. What we just talked about, this right here, I'm already full, right? This is the pull. This is the draw, the gravitation, right? This is the new wavelength, the vibration. This was a whole meditation, right? This was a whole sensation, just having this conversation and a collaboration with the congregation there at the festival. I was already full. So, yeah, conscious conversation, talking with people who expand you, who broaden your horizons, who open the scope of your vision. Those are like pranic provisions, right? So I just wanted to touch on that for a second. And I think that's also why somebody told me about a sapiosexual. You ever heard of a sapiosexual? Look it up. SAPIO sexual. A sapiosexual. Look up the definition. I think that's what I am. That's probably me. That fits my description. What are some things you could incorporate today for a more balanced energy diet? We say energy diet because at its core, that's what the body is looking for. That's what the brain is looking for. Energy. Yet the fascinating thing is, this energy doesn't have to come from any fossil fuels. It doesn't have to be extracted from dead plants and animals. My mentor once told me to keep an open mind like a parachute. It doesn't do you any good to have it closed. Open the doorway to possibilities in your mind when it comes to absorbing and assimilating this abundant energy around you. Our bodies are much more resourceful than we give them credit. You can even generate energy by being fueled with passion for your life's purpose. Having a reason to get out of bed every day. Right now, my reason is writing this book for you. And it's giving me all the energy I need. Yeah, having a reason to jump up out every day. I mean, I don't even have a bed at my apartment. I sleep on the floor. But having a reason to jump up in the rising and just go out and do something that's energizing for you. is just life-giving. It's breath-giving, right? Just the way that you're living can be so breath-giving. So, yeah, it's its own frequency for sure. As well as the Qigong sessions I do every day with the community. By the time the session is over, I already feel rejuvenated, refreshed, and renewed. Ready for a walk and to keep riding again. You become like a dynamo of love and devotion. As they say, you are not just a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. You are all of existence distilled into one vessel. So whether you feel that you are weathered or worn out, realize that you have a wellspring of untapped wisdom within you. The source of all power rests idly inside you and can be activated at any time. So what will become your nourishment? What will water that seed? How will this flower of power blossom within you? With pranic living, the options are many. The concept of nourishment in pranic living goes beyond the conventional understanding of sustenance. It invites us to see that true nourishment is a holistic experience, one that involves not only what we ingest, but how we immerse ourselves. Consider the effect of the air you breathe in the woods, the sound of birds chirping, the feel of Mother Earth beneath your feet. All of these elements contribute to a profound sense of well-being. It is a type of nourishment that feeds the soul just as much as it does the body. Engaging in creative activities allow us to express ourselves, to release pent-up emotions, and to connect with the deeper parts of our being. When we create, we tap into a flow of energy that restores us from the inside out. Spending time with good people can uplift us, filling us with new ideas, perspectives, and energies that we might not have encountered on our own. These interactions are like food for the mind and spirit, providing us with the mana we need to grow and evolve. For a moment, just imagine a life where you no longer have to worry about food. That may sound strange at first, but trust me, it's liberating. When you no longer have to focus on what you're going to eat or how much you're going to eat, you start to appreciate the little things in life. You can find joy in spending time with people without the constant thought of food and consumption. When you find people who share your values and interests, you can enjoy spending time together without the pressure of food. As they say, your vibe attracts your tribe. And then there is the nourishment that comes from living with meaning. When we align ourselves with our true calling, we tap into an inexhaustible source of energy. This purpose-driven energy propels us forward, giving us the strength and resilience to face any challenge. It is a form of nourishment that goes beyond the physical and into the very core of who we are. The essence of pranic living is about understanding that nourishment is a multifaceted experience. It's about recognizing that everything you do, everyone you surround yourself with, and everything you allow into your life plays a role in your overall well-being. So as you continue on your journey, take a moment to reflect on what truly nourishes you. Is it the food you eat? The company you keep? The environment you live in? Or is it something deeper? Something that transcends the physical and touches the very depths of your soul? The path encourages us to explore these questions and to discover new ways to nourish ourselves, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And in doing so, we open ourselves up to a richer, juicier, and more fulfilling way of life. And at the end of this chapter, we have a quote from one of my good friends, Anna Seahawk. Shout out to Anna. Anna says, "One of the really most beautiful things about the pranic journey is realizing that you can harvest energy from nature. We are like trees, you know? We need sunshine. We don't just need clean water in a glass that we put in our mouth. We need the moisture in the air, or going into a body of water. If you're in a desert situation, how are you going to carry all this stuff around, right? Like being pranic is so much easier." Anna Seahawk. The speed of wisdom. It begins with a quote by Elitam Elamine. "You want to have fun on the journey. So I had fun with the avocados. I didn't beat myself up with them. So after I had fun and tasted the avocados, it was good. I had a good meditation." See, we ain't got to make it hard. You're not saying, "I got to deny it. It's all in my head." Go have it. If you can't fight it that bad, what we're saying is, don't let meditation go. You let meditation go, you defeated the whole purpose. That's what expands your consciousness. Channeling light through the body, so you can hold more light, so you can achieve enlightenment. That's why it's been around for thousands of years, for a reason. It's just that some people knows what it's for and some don't. Some benefit off of it and some don't. But that's your bread and butter, the vehicle to bring more cosmic energy into the body. Elitam Elamine. Have you ever experienced moments of deep meditation where you felt a small voice guiding you? Some refer to this as their intuition, while others believe it to be the voice of an angel resting on their shoulder. No matter how you perceive it, this voice that arises from stillness will never lead you astray. It is a pathway towards enlightenment. As you continue to practice meditation, you will find yourself yearning for it more and more. Your body will become accustomed to this time of silence, and you may start to learn to embrace it. Many people feel as though meditation is a waste of time. They feel as though sitting down and seemingly doing nothing is unproductive. But what many people don't realize is that meditation is one of the biggest time savers we have. I've never met a person on the Breatharian path who doesn't meditate in one way or another. It is an ancient tool that not only saves time, but allows you to gain time. You gain time because you gain more awareness, and you become a conscious creator of your circumstances. It allows you to make better judgments and stay disciplined with healthier habits. As you meditate, you replenish your internal supply of energy by tapping into the reservoir all around you. Everything becomes 10 times smoother, 10 times easier, 10 times more efficient. It is like slowing down to the speed of wisdom and saves you time in the long run. Especially on this journey, meditation is a must-have. There were so many pranic retreats with Elitam in which he would tell us over and over again that meditation is the foundation. He would also mention that it's like free medication. It helps move the energy blockages in our bodies that take up space, not even mentioning all the toxic waste. We can become a more high-performance vehicle, if you will, when we upgrade ourselves through this modality, increasing our mindfulness and reducing mindless activities. If I didn't create time to meditate, this would be a completely different journey. It would be harder to resist temptations when it came to solid food. It would be tougher to fight cravings because my cells wouldn't be as satiated. It would be easier to stuff myself in order to deal with my emotions because meditation helps us on that level as well. Meditation is not just a practice of the mind. It is a cultivation of the soul. In the stillness, we find clarity, and in clarity, we find direction. This is where the true essence of pranic living begins to unfold. If life is a video game, then meditation is the cheat code. As you deepen your meditation practice, you begin to notice subtle changes in your daily life. Decisions that once seemed overwhelming become clear. The noise of the world quiets down, and the inner voice of wisdom speaks louder. It is like having your own personal Jiminy Cricket, if you've ever seen Pinocchio. This inner guidance is something that many people overlook. We live in a society that values constant motion and productivity, often at the expense of our inner well-being. Yet, the irony is that by taking a step back, by embracing stillness, we actually become more productive. We align our actions with our highest intentions, making our efforts more effective and meaningful. Moreover, meditation helps us reconnect with our true nature. It strips away the layers of stress, fear, and doubt that cloud our perception. It allows us to see ourselves and the world around us with fresh eyes, fostering a sense of peace and contentment. The cool thing is that this is not dependent on external circumstances. In the context of pranic living, this is particularly powerful. As we reduce our reliance on physical food, meditation provides the spiritual nourishment we need. It feeds our soul, sustains our energy, and keeps us grounded on this unconventional path. Elitam's words, meditation is the foundation, deeply resonate because they underscore the importance of this practice in maintaining balance and harmony. Without meditation, the journey towards pranic living would be fraught with challenges. With it, we gain the strength to overcome those challenges and thrive. In essence, meditation is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. Just like Avatar is the bridge between the physical and spiritual realm. It is the tool that allows us to transcend our limitations and tap into the infinite potential within us. As you continue to meditate, you will find that your connection to pranic energy deepens and your ability to live a life of greater purpose and fulfillment expands. Allow it to become the cornerstone of a life lived in alignment with your greatest version, the quiet, unshakable foundation upon which you ascend. And we'll go ahead and we'll just stop here for now. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you always for listening, my friend. I trust that you received an encouraging word, a nugget, or something to take away with you, to share this with someone who needs to hear it, keeping the grateful, thankful spirit for all things Pranic living. We have a website for you. That website, of course, is patreon.com/pranicpath. And this book is available in PDF form there, as well as over 20 other books available for your reading pleasure. Audios, videos for your auditory and visual pleasure. Much love, my friend. Thank you for listening. It is always a treasure. And once again, that website for you, patreon.com/pranicpath. And I trust that we'll see you there. Much love. Stay aware. These have been a few readings as we've been proceeding. Much love. Thank you for listening to the Pranic Pages. And we'll see you soon. Stay in tune.